What do you share when your book isn't written yet? What do you share when your album is still being recorded? What do you post before your product is released? This is where many independent creatives get stuck. They think, I can't market yet. I don't have anything to sell. And so they disappear. They write silently in their basement. They spend all day in their garage recording. They create products without telling anyone. And then, 6 months later, they finally launch the thing. And they realize they don't have anyone to share it with. They have no audience outside of immediate family and close friends. And that is a painful moment. And it's also completely preventable. So by the end of this video, I want you to understand 5 things and 1 bonus thing. First, why waiting until your product is finished to begin amplifying creates a visibility problem. Second, how you can amplify your journey before you amplify your product. Third, how to share the challenges and problems you're currently facing. Fourth, how to turn your discoveries into useful content. Fifth, how to study amplification in public. And bonus, how to build audience trust before you launch. Because if you're an independent creative starting from zero, you still have something to amplify, even though you may not have your finished product yet. You have your journey. You have challenges and problems. You have discoveries. You have the transformation you're building toward. And that's where marketing from zero begins. My name is Bill Walker, and I'm the founder of Creators Create and the architect of the Create operating system. Create stands for choose, reverse engineer, execute, amplify, track, and evolve. It's a system built for independent creatives who are ready to focus, finish, grow, and build profitable, sustainable, creative businesses around the work they are so passionate about to share. And today, we're talking about amplification, because amplification isn't optional. Without amplification, creative work stays invisible. People can't buy your book if they can't find it. People can't listen to your album if it's never been shared. People can't support your art if they don't know it exists. So staying invisible leads to the premature death of great creative projects. And this doesn't happen because there isn't value in the work. It happens because the work has no signal. So let's talk about how and why to create that signal before your product is finished. So number 1, waiting to amplify until your product is finished creates a visibility problem. Many independent creatives believe the work should come first and that marketing should come later. Unfortunately, that's a huge mistake. And your work definitely matters. Your book needs to be written, your album needs to be recorded, your paintings need to be painted, and your offer needs to be refined. But if you wait until your product is finished before you begin to amplify, you're forcing your product to launch into silence. You're asking the market to immediately care about something it hasn't been exposed to. And that's a hard way to build a creative business. And the major entertainment industries know this. Movies, books, and albums are often promoted months to a year or more in advance of their official release because awareness takes time. A famous example is the movie The Dark Knight, whose online campaign began about a year before the film's release, with Harvey Dent's campaign website, IBelieveInHarveyDent.com. In the publishing world, for the first 4 Harry Potter books, marketing for the next installment began almost immediately following the previous release. But beginning with book 5, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the publishers adopted a strategy of extreme secrecy, withholding plot details and review copies until the exact on-sale date. And the result of this was massive advanced orders and organically launched the famous midnight release parties. In the music world, Taylor Swift's album rollouts also show how pre-saves and pre-orders of both physical and digital formats front-load her first week numbers, often resulting in historic album debuts. And no, I know, I get it. Independent creatives don't have big Hollywood budgets. They don't have major publishing houses or giant record labels behind them. However, they can still learn and apply the same principle. And that is, attention is built before the launch. Trust is built before the launch. Recognition is built before the launch. That means your amplification block begins before the launch. It begins while your product is still being built. And that leads us to number 2. You can amplify your journey before you amplify your product. So when you don't have a finished product, you amplify your journey. And now this is important. Don't just post diary entries. Nobody wants to read that. And a boring version of this is, I wrote a chapter today. I worked on my album today. I created another module for my course. I had a hard day. And while all of that may be true, most people don't know what to do with that information. And frankly, they don't care. What we need are stronger versions of that. And the stronger version shares the meaning of the activity. So instead of saying, I wrote a chapter today, you might say, while writing chapter 3 today, I realized the book was stuck because I hadn't clearly identified my target reader. But once I knew for whom I was writing, the chapter became much easier and it wrote itself. That's useful. Instead of saying, I worked on my album today, you might say, today's recording session reminded me that waiting for the perfect mood is a trap. And the session improved once I stopped chasing the perfect feeling and started focusing on the music. Now that gives the audience a lesson. Instead of saying, I'm building a course, you might say, I'm building a course for independent creatives that helps them dismantle distraction, complete their primary quest, and scale from obscurity to a profitable, sustainable creative business in 6-month timeframes. Sharing like that creates value. So here's the principle. Don't just post the activity. Post the insight behind the activity. That's how the journey becomes useful and interesting to other people. All right, number 3, share the problem you're learning to solve. A new creative can share their challenges and problems. And this is powerful because other people are going through similar things and people gather around problems and your audience wants you to succeed and you might have a solution to what they're going through. If you're writing a book, what problems is the book creating for you? Are you struggling with timing, plot development, character development, etc.? If you're recording an album, what emotional experience are you trying to create? Who are you trying to reach? Are you having to deal with any technical challenges? If you're building a course, what transformation are you helping someone achieve? Who is your ideal client? If you're creating a collection of paintings, what question, story, or experience is your work exploring? What emotions are your paintings portraying? If you're building a community, what pain are people experiencing alone that they shouldn't have to face alone? All of this gives you something to talk about before your product exists. For example, a writer could say, I'm writing a book about creative focus because I believe too many talented people are drowning in unfinished ideas. A musician could say, I'm recording an album designed for people who need calm, reflection, and beauty in the middle of a chaotic life. A course creator could say, I'm building a course for independent creatives who know they need to market their work, but feel uncomfortable becoming visible. A painter could say, I'm creating a collection about transition because so many people are living between the life they've built and the life they desire. And these posts, they're not empty updates. They're invitations into the meaning of your work. You're helping people understand why your project matters before you ask them to support it. All right, number 4, turn discoveries into useful content. As you build your product, you're going to learn a few things. You're going to hit obstacles. You'll discover bottlenecks. You'll make decisions. You'll simplify ideas. You'll have successes. You'll change direction. And you'll discover what works and what doesn't work. And that, my friends, is content. If you're writing a book, share what you're learning about structure, audience, discipline, research, voice, or clarity. If you're recording music, share what you're learning about sound, signal flow, practice, emotional delivery, production, or planning for your album's release. If you're building a course, share what you're learning about transformation, lessons, modules, frameworks, examples, exercises, or student outcomes. If you're creating art, share what you're learning about themes, materials, process, presentation, and the story behind your work. The goal is to become a guide by sharing real discoveries from your journey. And that kind of content is honest, it's useful, and it helps people trust you because they're not only seeing the finished product, they're experiencing the journey with you. They're seeing the way you think. All right, number 5, study the art of amplification in public. If you're starting from zero and don't have any data of your own, study other people's data and share your experience with the public. This is one of the most underutilized strategies for beginners. You can analyze great work and learn how it was shared. You can study the actions of those who are one step ahead of you. You can break down the launches of other creators' books, songs, albums, paintings, courses, communities, videos, and offers. A writer can study how successful authors built an audience before publication. A musician can study how other musicians have announced an album, built anticipation, released singles, or told the story behind the music. An artist can study how other painters present a collection, name their work, share their process, and guide viewers to understand the meaning of their art. A course creator can study how strong teachers explain transformation. A community builder can study what makes people feel like they belong. All of this positions you as serious. It shows discernment. It shows that you're learning the game you're trying to play. And it gives you something valuable to post while your own project is still being built. You aren't saying, look at me, I have all the answers. You're saying, I'm studying my craft. I'm building skills, and here's what I'm noticing. And for now, that's enough. All right, the bonus. Build trust before you launch. This is the biggest reason to amplify before your product is finished. You're building trust before you ask for a transaction. When someone sees you showing up consistently, sharing your journey, explaining your problems, teaching what you've discovered, and staying accountable to who you are and what you're creating, they begin to become interested in you. They begin to become interested in what you're creating. Then they begin to decide whether your work is for them. So when your book, album, course, offer, art, or community is ready, the launch isn't the first time they've heard about it. They've been watching it come together from the beginning, and that changes everything. The product doesn't arrive as a stranger. It arrives as the next logical step in the story they already understand and enjoy. And now this is how beginners can market from zero. All right, inside the Create OS, this is why the 3-block system matters. You need creative blocks to build your product. You need amplification blocks to build visibility. You need operation blocks to handle all administrative tasks. A beginner may not have a product to sell yet, but they still have amplification work to do. You prepare your audience before your product's release. This means you have to create your product and build the signal at the same time. So here's my challenge for you. If you're building something right now, choose one post to create today from one of the following categories. Number 1, share your journey. What are you building and what have you accomplished this week? 2, explain a problem or challenge you're currently dealing with. 3, share a discovery. What did you learn today that could help someone who is one step behind you? 4, study the amplification of others. What did you notice from someone ahead of you that helps you understand your own need to amplify? Pick one, just one, write the post, and publish it today. Start amplifying your signal now. If this is the kind of structure and accountability you need or want in your own creative life, I invite you to register for the next free Create webinar. In that webinar, we'll walk you through the Create operating system and show you how you can use it to focus, finish, grow, and build momentum around the work that matters most to you. And if you already know you're ready for more structure, more accountability, and more momentum, I would love to see you inside our Create community. Links to both are down below in the description. Choose what matters, do the work, build momentum, and I'll see you in the next video.